Hi everyone, welcome to School of Scarlet. I'm so happy to have you here. So today I'm going to be talking about gifts. So today I'm kind of just walking around doing a few chores and things, and I'm getting ready to go to the store to go look at some things for some gifts for some people that will be visiting when I go out of town. So that kind of sparked an idea for me, or just an insight about gifts. So I want to kind of talk to y'all about my thoughts around gifts. So my history around gifts is that for whatever reason, that is one of my love languages. So if you don't know what love languages is, I think it's Gary Chapman has a book called The 5 Love Languages. And this book is actually very, very helpful in understanding your partner and what they need from you. So one of the things that is my love language is gifts. So I really enjoy giving gifts. I also really value getting gifts, and to me that's important. So I was really thinking about gifts and how to give a good gift. And so I was thinking about the kinds of gifts that I've really liked to receive in my life, the gifts that have really meant a lot to me. And so there's two kinds of gifts that I came up with that occur in life. And so one type of gift is a very thoughtful gift. I mean, there's all kinds of gifts, but I'm going to give you two ideas of two different kinds of gifts that I have in my mind. So one person gives the type of gift that's very thoughtful, a gift that they've really thought about. They've really thought, what would this person like? Maybe it's even a personalized gift, or it's just something very special, and you know that that person took time to find something that you would like, or they saw something you would like and they thought of you and bought it. So that is that kind of gift, the very personalized gift, the gift that's just for you. And I can think of some gifts in my life that I've received this way, and I cherish these gifts immensely. But then again, I am someone that is my love language. Now, the other kind of gift is very interesting. The other kind of gift is the gift of freedom, the gift of allowing someone to choose their gift, to choose what they want for themselves. So I was thinking about that sort of gift as well. Those gifts were very wonderful, like they were expansive. They always felt like so grand in my mind. And so what I'm thinking about when I think of these kinds of gifts that are very free, I can remember back to when I was little, and every so often my dad would take us to the store, to the toy store, and back then there was actually real brick and mortar Toys R Us stores that were lined with aisles and aisles of toys. And generally we would go to the toy store and we would look at the toys and, you know, kind of just browse around. It was something fun to do every so often. But we didn't necessarily always purchase something. A lot of times we were just looking. But every so often my dad would allow us to go to the store, my brother and I, and to just pick out anything we wanted. And he literally would say that we could pick out anything we wanted. And you would think that maybe I would pick out, I don't know, the motorized car or some crazy expensive item. But no, that gift of freedom really allowed me to choose that one item that I had been eyeing all of those times that I had been going to that store. And it wasn't always the most expensive item or anything like that. It truly was an item that I had envisioned and imagined playing with because I had seen this item over and over again. But that was one way of getting gifts. And sometimes it was a spontaneous freedom. There was times that we'd have people come visit us. I have one aunt in particular that I can recall. The majority of times that she would come, either she would bring like a gift, or a lot of times she would take us to the store and allow us to find something that we liked. And that was very spontaneous. Sometimes we wouldn't know what store she would take us to, so it was very random. But that gift of freedom, of picking out our own gift, or my own gift, was something that felt very big, very grand, and it's something that stayed in my heart as well. It's not something that just leaves you. It's not about the item, really. It now becomes about a whole feeling around that, the feeling of freedom. So if you've ever had these experiences, really sit back and think on them. They really are this way if you really think on them. So there are these two ways of giving gifts, and there's no right or wrong way about them. As a person that really values getting gifts, a person that's love language is gifts, I cherish both gifts. But I'm here to tell you that there is one ultimate gift that we already have here and now, but many of us have not accepted that gift or don't see that gift as really there. We're those kids at the toy store that have been taken to the toy store and we've been told, you can have anything in this store, but yet we still don't believe it. We look around and we think, no, that's not really true. I can't actually have everything. And so this child says, no, I don't want anything. No, thank you. And so you see, the thing is, we are that child. We have been taken to the store, although we are all of this really, but we are here at the store, which is life, which is everything, infinity, everything that you see in your reality, everything that you can imagine was, is, to be, anything. So all of that you can imagine is your toy store. You can play and dabble in any of these things. You can dabble in art, science, nature, many things, all the pleasures of life, whatever you want. And so this toy store is right here and now in this moment. And so you've been told it's all here and now for you. Choose. You're free to choose anything you want. You don't have to pay for anything. It's a gift to you. You can have this. So the question is, will you take this gift? Will you own this gift and really go with it and live your life exactly how you want? Will you go back to that aisle that you went to so many times wishing that you had that thing? Would you go back to that place and go and get the thing that is meant for you? Will you choose yourself, your authentic self, now that you have this freedom of life? So I'm going to share with you another story. My experiences a lot of times are around social work, counseling, a lot of these kinds of things, because that's my profession, was in that profession for about 18 years or more. And so I started off working very early on in domestic violence. And I would see these women that would come in and they would be battered, but not just battered physically, also emotionally, mentally, and just their spirit was totally gone. They had no will, they had no trust in themselves. That was the main thing that I would see. They had no trust in themselves. And so I began to see that even in the center that I worked, the domestic violence center that I worked, the organization did not trust these women. They gave them rules and rules, and I understand why they were there. They had to coexist in a shelter together, these women. But they had no freedom. And anytime they cooked for their families or anything was done there for food, everything was meal planned by the chef, which was an employee. Everything was there was no freedom in this place. There was no freedom. Any of the toiletries, anything that the women needed as far as clothing, anything like that. At that time, at my first position, I was kind of managing the shelter. I was the one that would go choose these items for the women that lived there. And I was told that the women were never to go up to the third floor or choose any of their items or any of those things. I was to choose what they needed, and there was lists, and a lot of times they were already pre-packaged, so you could just get like the hygiene packet or the clothing packet or the underwear packet and give them to them. But these women had no freedom this whole time. And then they had caseworkers that they were assigned to, and these caseworkers would find them jobs. And the jobs were usually things that the caseworkers thought would be good for these women. They would do, well-meaning tests on them and find out what they were into and set them up at these jobs, and they would go. And these women would go and work. And when the money would come in, they would bring in their check directly to the caseworker. And the caseworker would hold their checks in what they called a trust. And sometimes it was just a safe. And other times it was a bank account that they could have, but they had no access to their money. The whole time they lived in the shelter, they had no access to their money. Until they were to leave the shelter, then they could have their money. And they were doing this in a well-meaning manner to hold their money so that when they left the shelter, they had all of their money and they weren't spending their money while they were in the shelter. And so I was seeing all of this stuff, and I talked to the women and things, and I'd talk to them and see that they were working, doing very well, and working every day, yet they were telling me that they couldn't afford this, they still couldn't get that. Could they have another extra pair of underwear? Could they have a little bit more tampons? Because they still could not have that. And I said, why not? Yet you've been working. What's been going on? You've had what you need for the week. And come to find out, all of their money was tied up in these trusts. So they had no freedom, and they were still having to be that beggar and coming to me and, abiding by these rules and acting timid and scared of whether or not I was going to provide something for them or get mad at them, or because the majority of people that worked there, sadly, were actually very angry and quite mean to these women. They would constantly kick them out for not following the rules. There's a lot that goes on when one person is being abused or emotionally subjected to these things within our brains. Our concentration is lost. We're disorganized. It's hard to do these things like keeping up the rules that they wanted there. But no one had compassion for these women. But where I'm going with this is somewhere different. One day, they donated a ton of gift cards for these women. And these women were to use, these gift cards were specifically to be used for school clothes for their children. And rather than giving the women these gift cards, now these gift cards were coming from an outside organization as a donation to the women, but rather than giving them the gift cards, we had a meeting about it, and everybody decided that these women were not capable of handling the money that was on their gift card. That if they would have their gift card, they would make the bad decisions, that they would not do well. And so that we were to use the gift cards, us employees, and go shopping for the school clothes for the kids and spend up to that money and be very frugal with it, use it carefully, and spend it all at Walmart, bring back the receipts, this and that. And so we did that one year, and then the following year, the same thing happened. The donation came in with the gift cards. And I had a few clients, and I was getting more comfortable in my position. And when I get comfortable in my positions, wherever I work, I start breaking the rules. So these gift cards came in, and because I had possession of them and I could distribute them, I really wasn't that worried about it. And I wanted to give these women some freedom, because I saw that they had literally no freedom at this shelter, at a place that's supposed to empower women to be out on their own. They were back in the same position that they were in as their domestic violence situation, only now they weren't being beat physically, but in many other ways they were totally controlled. They had no freedom. They couldn't share where they were at. They couldn't talk on the phone. There were so many rules at this place. Anyhow, so I gave these women these gift cards, and they could not believe it. You would have thought I gave them the lottery ticket. You would have thought that I gave them a brand new car. I think the gift card was about $150. And I gave the gift card to one woman, and I let her know, this gift card is for you to get, your kids' clothes and all of that. And she's like, what? Wow, what? And, she was just freaking out over it. And she went and got the clothes, and these women were so responsible with the gift cards. They used them at thrift shops. They used them at Walmart. They used sales, coupons, many things. They came back, showed me what they got. So when I saw this, I showed it to the therapist. There was only one therapist that worked there, and I showed them, this is what's happening. Y'all are not giving these women any freedom here. And just in giving these women these gift cards, look at what they can do. And look at how happy they get, how empowered they feel. So it's almost difficult to talk about in a way, because, it was something you had to see or feel. It really was a total shift in what this woman is experiencing. It's a total shift from fear to love. It really is. And so the therapist saw this, and they were okay with it from there on to give these gift cards. And I didn't always work at this place. I went on to work at other places, and every time anyone donated gift cards, or anytime there was money in a grant and we were to spend it, if there was a way for the client or the person to spend it, I always advocated for it, and it always paid in dividends for these women. So I also found out there was also times where I was counseling people that were very down, had no hope for life and different things. And this was a time that I was working, I won't say where, but anyhow, I was working at this place, and these women were this way. And I had the intuition to take a woman out to eat for her birthday, and I did that. And I took her out somewhere I thought was a pretty normal place, but she had never been to such a nice place in her words. I believe it was like a Chili's. So she had never been to a Chili's. And so to her, that expanded her view of life. And now she could see herself there. She ate at that restaurant. She that was normal to her now. She could see it as something that was for her. She didn't see it so outside of her realm. So ever since I had taken that woman out for her birthday, I continued to do strange little things like this at work. If I had the opportunity to, I would. I even did it up until my last job, where I was working with people with serious mental illness, which is a little risky. You know, I had one man with me for a while and took him out a few places, took him out to get donuts, to eat at Whataburger, just different things. I'd take him out to do things. And expanding people's view, empowering them, showing them that they can do this, does so much more than sitting around talking about therapies, talking about nonsense, about knowledge, about books. Read this therapy, read that book, do this thing, go to this retreat. You're going to have to go to this intervention. No, we just need to get out there in this world. If we have something that we can give to someone else, if we see something, even if it's the smallest thing, it doesn't have to be this big long therapy we have to give them. Just something, a little bit of trust for them, a little bit of love to them, something that they can show themselves that I can trust myself, I can do this, someone sees me. If we can do that for someone else, that is amazing. And so in doing that for someone else is how you will be seen. A lot of us feel like we're not seen. We wonder why. Well, why do we have to do that for someone else when no one's doing that for us? No one sees us. Well, you see, when you see others, then you will be seen. You see, that is an aspect of you that's being projected out. And every time you reject that aspect, you're rejecting yourself. And others will reject you, and others won't see you. So be loving, be caring, see yourself in that other person. However different they may be, try to find some median, some connection, even if you can't find it. What is it that you enjoy? What is it that you can show them about you? Maybe you love to go shopping at the mall and they've never been to the mall. Have them come along with you. Be around that energy. See, you nourish people with your energy. You have something special. We all do. And we can all share that with each other just by being in each other's energy. So be that light for the other. And in doing so, that will illuminate you. So if you like this video, if this video was helpful to you, give me a thumbs up, share it with other people, and comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all.